Hello again, it's Elizabeth and I'm over here in my art loft, and I thought today I would show you how I make prints that look something like old painted walls. You know, where the paint's kind of coming off and you see the paint that was in behind it, or you see scruffy marks. This one I did with a creamy beginning, and then I put the silver on, and you can see the silver, when you just look at it straight, it looks almost white, but it's really silver in there. Actually, I think it's platinum. And I use the, what is it, Delta Ceramcoat paints. Cheap, or not cheap, but inexpensive paints that you can get at most craft stores. And there's that one. And the second one, I did the creamy kind of stuff at the beginning, and then I put the light blue on it, and then the black and brown together. And this one actually has a gold, a little bit of gold you can see in behind it. I think you can see that right there. But there was a big storm last night, so after I picked this one up, I said, better clean my plate. So I just put on gold for the rest of it. And I think actually this is my best print for the night. And I really love it. It's got, it's all gold, except for the matte places where we have the blue, the little bit of brown, and the black showing in behind it. I love the way that one looks. So I'm going to teach you the secrets of the Squeaky Brayer. Now, some time ago, I tried to make other prints that looked like these did, and was moderately successful, but not overly successful. And then I found a person online named Jackie Sherry, I believe her name is. I think she goes by Creations by J. Sherry, and she was using two plates. One was her main plate, and then she had a side plate that she'd roll all her other stuff on. But she had a little tiny brayer about this size. And with a brayer this size, well, she had smaller plates, first of all. But with a brayer this size, you're not going to cover a lot of territory on a big plate like this. But hers was, I think it was bigger around, because it seemed like it took her longer to roll from one. Anyway, it looked bigger around to me when I was watching the videos. But she got some very interesting things by adding paint to her jelly plate and then subtracting it on purpose. You know how when you get those ones that you're rolling, and you're rolling a color on top of a color that you've already got there, and you really want to leave them all on the plate, but for some reason your brayer decides it's going to pick up what's below because you're either rolling too slow, or because your paint's too thick, or because, well, whatever the reason is. And it decides it's going to do that, and I think I got the wrong paint out, but we'll see if we can make this work anyway. Anyway, with that, a lot of times it will roll up what you have on the plate to begin with. And you're like, why do you have to do that? Well, Jackie Sherry was doing it on purpose, and I'm like, wow, what a novel idea. Why didn't I think of that? So I decided to try with making old world walls, or old painted walls that are kind of crumbling, and I don't like the way that paint's doing, so I'm going to add some other stuff to it. I decided to try to see if that would help in making the walls look more like walls instead of just like purposefully plaid paint by, you know, rolling your brayer this way and then rolling your brayer that way. And that looks much better on there. Rolling my brayer off on the side on this little brown piece of paper, not on another jelly plate, but it would be nice if I did that. Anyway, I start with a base coat, as all things start with a base coat. And I want to get that thin, and I want to get it pretty dry. But before I get it dry, I'm going to use my Squeaky Brayer. It's squeaky because I just simply haven't gotten to oil it. And it's special because I modified it. Not like that. It's not supposed to scoot on the thing. But we're going to be subtracting some of the paint with my Squeaky Brayer. And it's not squeaking yet because it's not really rolling much. but it will. You'll hear it. I changed my camera a little bit. I have it so that I'm sitting down. It's much more comfortable for me. And I have my lights, I think they don't show really in the camera too much, but I did turn this one off. Now if I turn it back on when it's got paint on it, it won't be so bad. It will wiggle this a little bit for a minute. But when it doesn't have paint on it, you get a lot of bright lights in your eyes. Now that really doesn't look like much, and there's no secret that I've shown you yet. But the secret is that my brayer, when I first used this one, it looked like it was low in the middle and high on the sides. So whenever I would brayer with it, I would get two parallel lines, and they were two straight, uninteresting parallel lines. So I said, that won't do, because who wants two straight parallel lines about that wide apart on your jelly plate? So I decided that I would rough up, and can you see that? Rough up the edge of that brayer so that it is not a smooth, nice, even brayer like brayers are supposed to be. See how that one's nice and even and smooth around there? Well, the other one's not. And both sides I roughed out. One side more than the other one. This one has some real divots that I've cut into the edge of it. And as such, I can get, if I do my brayer on its angle, I can get some really, and that's not drying very well because of course it was too wet to start with, so we're going to roll a little bit more off of there. But I can get some really interesting lines down through there that are not just a straight little parallel line. It's got some character to it. So just getting this to dry a little bit. It should dry pretty fast in these lights. And I want to take off a little extra in some places so that more of my next color will show through. And the first color I used was, where did you go? This one, but I think I've put some water in with that. You can hardly see what that is, but that's corn silk yellow. And I think that's why it's too wet. Put some water in it. And the second color I used is really weird named, Santa's Flesh. And it's about the right consistency, but when it had to go over the top of that other one, it left a little to be desired. And you can hear my squeaky brayer now occasionally. So now all I'm doing is making horizontal and vertical passes with my brayer to take off a little bit of the paint that's on there, because I had too much in the first place. And then in a moment I'll put on some more and take some more off again. But hopefully they'll overlap like old paint would on a wall that the paint was coming off of or crumbling or whatever. Okay. So we have a base coat there. I'm going to just kind of take off all the excess. Very lightly rolling there. I may have taken off too much, but it'll be fun. Okay, so we're going to try the blue-green that we used the last night, which is the, it's called Laguna Blue. I think I need to take one. No, that'll be fine. Okay. Take off, put on a little bit of that. Come on, you. Paint's not cooperating today either. I guess it's one of those days. I'm going to use my small brayer to put that on and take that off. don't want that blob looking thing to show there, so I'm putting it on like that. Kind of mixing it in with the base color paint so it can get all one color. And you can see there, can you see there where it's pulling the paint up from the base coat as we're rolling this on. And normally I wouldn't like that, but I'm doing it on purpose today. Rolling off my excess paint on my brown paper over here. And I can get a nice little edge there. Maybe another edge here that has a little bit of blue in it, maybe not. And you can hear my squeaky brayer. Okay. And you just have to decide when it's enough that's being taken off, when you want to stop with that and let it dry or help it dry. Help it dry a little bit. I have my trusty fan here. Blows all my paper towels away. It's pretty well dry. Okay, I'm going to use the silver this time, if I can find him again. Oh, platinum, that's it. Oops, here's the thing. There we go. Platinum opaque. I'm going to put some of that in this clearest area. And I know I didn't let it dry totally, but there's mostly just wet right here. The rest of it's pretty dry. Put enough almost to cover it. And I'm using my big brayer to cover it, so I want to get my big brayer totally wet before I start rolling, because I really don't want to pick up any of the undercoat until I get this on there. And you can see I picked up a little bit of the blue on my brayer because it was not totally dry. But that's okay. I think this is going to look good. So let's roll this off over here and let me show you what it looks like. So you can see basically what it looks like there. I know you're getting a lot of the light coming back at you. You can see some of the silver actually through those holes. And then as we pick up a little bit more of what's there, like here, it's like really thick there, so we'll take some of that away. It's going to be pretty. It's pretty over here on this brown piece of paper that I'm rolling off on. I keep these two and use them for collage and other things. Okay, you see I've put another line through there that then my next color is going to show up, excuse me, going to show up really well there. Put me a line here. So what I'm doing is I'm tilting my roller slightly so that it only hits mainly the edge there that's been modified. And I'm also pushing down just a little bit so it actually hits a little bit more than just that. A little bit more here, maybe. And perhaps a little there, because that bottom looked like it was just totally there. Maybe there. Okay, so now I'm going to put on my brown and black. I'll put those on at the same time. As soon as I clean that brayer a little bit. My squeaky brayer. And the brown I'm using today is, actually I think I used a different brown yesterday, but I'll use this one today, the Burnt Umber. And it's semi-opaque, so it doesn't if you print it on, well, anyway, when it's in behind an opaque color, it's not going to show through very much. And where's my black? Oh, there's my black. My black's actually a metallic black, pearl black. Okay. So the way I'm doing that is I'm putting down a little black. Not too much. Don't make a mess. But of course it did. And the burnt umber. That's kind of black. That one's almost as dark as the other one. I'm going to give it a little bit of this, little shot of this red, just for interest. And I'm just going to spread that out like a normal paint. But I'm not going to try to mix it until I have it all over the plate, and then you'll see the different colors through the base colors I had on there. Don't like that being like a little round thing there. So get rid of that a little bit. When you put down your paint on your plate, sometimes it wets that area enough that it shows on your final print. You'll see, and I should probably put it in the corner because of that, but you'll see the edges of where you've actually put your paint onto the plate. So we don't want that. Okay, what I'm doing now is letting my brayer just use its, the weight of the brayer to remove a bit of the top layer of that paint. And then we're ready to pick it up. So I have a piece of white. And of course this is a pickup print, so we have to rub it for a little while. We have to make sure that the new paint has penetrated down to the base color that was on the plate so that it will pick it all up at once. We want to press a little bit hard when we're rubbing this plate so that we can help that adhere, one paint to another, and to the paper, of course. And for me, I always have to go up the middle again because I seem to miss that somehow when I'm making these. And then around to the edges again. And I moved the whole plate. I have it on this acrylic, and I hate to move it from the acrylic to put it back into its container, so I really just put another piece of the acetate stuff on top of it because it's so well defined to the acrylic. It doesn't have any air bubbles under it. And when you get air bubbles under your plate, then you get lumps and bumps and things, and can have divots in your plate and so on. And here we have our print. And that is nice looking. Whether or not it really looks like a painted wall or not, I don't know, but it's an interesting print, I think. You can let me know what you think in the comments, please. And if you have any suggestions, you can leave those too. If you have any questions, you can leave those. If you need a brayer like mine, I can give you a demonstration of how I made it that way. But it's really pretty simple. I just used my X-Acto knife to cut little divots out of the edge of it. I'm going to put this on my drying rack, which is my floor, and I'll be right back to try another one. Okay, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little bit of the blue still on there, which is really nice. And there's a cloud of probably the yellows or the grays is still on there. I don't know if you can tell that or not. There's the blue. A little bit here too, and here and here. So those are interesting. Okay, so this time we're going to start with the same way, except I'm not going to use that that particular corn silk because it was kind of runny. This is old parchment, and it's about dead too. I think I've used about all of it. Can you see that? Yeah. Okay. Let's see if there's any in there that will come out. Oh, there is. So just put some of that on my plate. I need some more old parchment. Okay, and we'll just roll that out. That's an interesting pattern, but not one I wanted this time. I'm afraid I'm picking up my blue, but this will be okay, because I don't want to pick it all up, though. Come on, guys. Okay, I am going to leave what's on there and go with another thing. I have no more old parchment, but what do I have that's light like that? Let's try something different. Oh, we'll go back with our Santa's flesh, which is just an odd name if you ask me. And we're going to roll that onto the entire plate before we take any off. I like to start with a nice smooth, more or less smooth layer on it to start with, and then I will make the adjustments myself to where I want the old paint to show through. To have a new place to roll it off. I'm going to take a little bit more of that off with the main brayer. And then we'll get my Squeaky Brayer. That works really well for removing paint and giving me the look that I want. I have a pencil rolling around on the desk here too. Let's put that in there so it behaves. Oh, not good. It's not dry yet. I was pushing too hard. So I just do it kind of in a rectangle, because I think of old paint things are usually, they're not necessarily painted in rectangles, but a lot of times they have their concrete or whatever they're made out of, stucco, bricks, whatever, concrete blocks underneath are in, they usually have a square type structure, rectangular type structure as the base for the wall. There are round walls, of course, but that's a whole different thing. I can't do a round wall with my plate because they come out with a piece of paper and paper's not round. Okay. Let's take a little of that off that way. And I did it to both sides. I showed you this side is really chunked out. This one I just roughed it up a little bit by scraping my X-Acto knife over the top of it. So it doesn't give quite the same jagged line. Definitely don't want it to look like it's been smeared though, because that, I don't know, to me it doesn't look right. Take a little more off here, off here. I don't mind if it doubles up the line. I think that looks interesting too, like that line there. Now see, if I did this live, you could tell me where I still needed to take off paint. But haven't figured that one out yet. I can go live in a group in Facebook, but I can't do live in this because I'm using my camera. I mean my cell phone as my camera, so I'm not sure how I would do that. I don't want both edges to look alike. That would be too much, even for me. Okay, we need to dry that some. Then put on our silver, and then put on our brown and black, or orange and brown and black. So we get a little bit of drying action going there. Let's see how long I've been going. 25 minutes, so this will be their last print most likely. So let's throw some silver on there, even if it's not ready for it. It's actually the platinum again. And we're going to put it over here in the corner. If it'll come out, good job. This just gives the shine to any of those areas that are open, so that when we put our black and brown on there, we have something that shines, because shiny's always good. Shiny and sparkly. We have a booger on our. Take that and put that in the trash before it makes a mess somewhere. And take a little bit more off. You can see how those are mixing, not mixing together, but layering nicely. I'm liking the way this is looking. I think it's going to be good. Getting dry like I want it to. A little bit more off. Make sure our brown and black show through some. I think here. Okay, and maybe a little bit here. I know I don't have very much time. I'm going to do it. Brown and black, here we come. Even though my silver is not dry, it'll be all right. A little bit of black. And I'm just going to skip that intermediate brown and go directly to the burnt sienna. Have black all over me because this stupid thing does not want to close right. There's my burnt sienna. We on time, 28 minutes. So we have 2 minutes to pull this print and make it beauteous. Okay, here goes. And you know all the things you're supposed to do is subscribe and give me a thumbs up and share and comment. Yeah, that's the other thing. Come on, baby. You can do it. We have 58 seconds. Keeping it down to the gun. Okay, are we ready? We're going to see. It's very, very gray. Kind of interesting. Has some silver in there. It's a little darker than I anticipated, but it'll be okay. Thank you for watching. Come again and see me some other time. Bye now.